Come on, man. A little tight haircut for the trip. Yep, heading to New Orleans tomorrow, man. Last show here in Vegas. Welcome in, everyone. Yes, welcome in Chip Kelly. Welcome Luka Doncic to the Lakers. Bobby has not flinched on that with his Celtics. He is not nervous. Did they do Luka dirty? I'll get into that. Got a good show lined up tomorrow from New Orleans. I'm off tomorrow. No live stream, no nothing. Getting into New Orleans around 2:30. Going to pick up my Radio Row credential, I believe, from my 29th Radio Row, or 28th. And then I'm going to get some dinner.
Where the Raider Nation has come to sound off and react for over 20 years.
It's the JT the Brick Show, broadcasting live from the Finley Cadillac Performance Studio.
Raiders bring a blitz. He takes him off the middle, and he's wrapped up from behind. Max Crosby.
Your silver and black home to sound off for over 20 years.
Open at the 35, racing to the 20, 10. Touchdown Raiders!
And now, here's JT the Brick.
Out of the gate, JT in Vegas. Last day this week. I'm off to New Orleans tomorrow. We'll be live from Radio Row at the New Orleans Convention Center. Harry Ruiz in for me tomorrow. No live stream tomorrow. Harry will be live on the radio. If you're listening, you want to watch the show from the Super Bowl, this will be a Raw channel, and we're doing a lot with the Raiders. We're going to be sending back to the Raiders headquarters some programming down there, too. So excited. Double dipping again, working for the Raiders and this platform here on Raider Nation Radio at Lotus Broadcasting for all of our proud partners who are helping us get to New Orleans. Remember, we can't go without all of these. If you're watching on our live stream at JT the Brick YT, I have what feels like a book of all the partners that we have that will get exclusive coverage from the Super Bowl here, and we're proud of that. So it's going to be a good week. I've been doing this a lot. I've changed a little bit of my philosophy. It used to be start at 8 in the morning, tape everyone I could get, put as many people on, broke records over the decades of getting more people on, and that mattered to me. I wanted to get there early because I worked at night. I wanted to get all the big guests during the day, middle of the day, early in the evening, and live, and then put it all and bundle it together and tell my former employers, hey, look at me. I'm better than the people you think are better than me. Look at who I had. That's my guest list. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm still going to have, I think, A-list guests, good guests, but it's more of going down there and doing good radio, solid radio, preview the Super Bowl, cover the Raiders and everything we do. My son will be down there with me, nice dinners, parties, enjoying New Orleans because our season will never end. But this is the end of our football season coming up here on Monday. When I come back on Monday, we'll recap it all, and then it's over. And even though the Raiders didn't make the playoffs, we went straight through. We went straight through like we're going to do without the Raiders in the playoffs or when the Raiders get to the playoffs, and that's our calendar. But this year is going to be one of the most epic offseason. It's already an epic offseason for a lot of Raider fans with the new coaches that are coming here. With all due respect to Tom Telesco, who was relieved with also Antonio Pierce, and we wish them well. The Raiders have gone nuts, gone over the top with who they brought in to coach. I don't know the numbers. I don't control the numbers. I was with Mark Davis yesterday, had a great conversation with him in Oakland. I'll tell you about that in a little bit, but they are spending money on coaches. And that's the theme of the monologue, brought to you by PTs. They fuel the monologue. 5 to 7, midnight to 2 is the best happy hour in town. All throughout Vegas, 70 taverns. Watch the Golden Knights. Watch UNLV hoops. Watch anything you want there. And you can game, you can eat, you can have the best happy hour. You know how it works over at PTs. They are a proud partner. They will always be mentioned first on the show for what they do for me. So let me tell you a couple of quick stories. First of all, Sunday, I got on the 6:30 flight, my wife and I, and we flew to Oakland for Morris Bradshaw's Celebration of Life. Morris Bradshaw had a big impact on my life, along with many people who are watching and listening. He was an executive for the Raiders. He was a 2-time Super Bowl champ. He played at Ohio State, a track star under Woody Hayes. He's a better person, better human being, one of the greatest people I ever met. When you leave this earth, you hope people say, that was a great guy. Forget about what he did on the football field. Forget about his athletic dominance. How was he as a person? Morris Bradshaw, a 10 out of 10. And he was a good friend of mine. And we became really good friends. I was in his home. He was in my home. We saw each other on the road. And I was devastated when he passed away. He passed away. His wife, Debbie, Dr. Debbie Bradshaw, put on his celebration of life at the Legends Lounge at Oracle Arena where the Warriors used to play. And my wife and I couldn't get on a reasonable flight at 8 in the morning. We had to get on the 6:30 because the 8 was sold out. So we landed in Oakland in the suit, wife's in the dress. We're going to a celebration of life. We took the Uber to Alameda, went to Oli's Waffle House, 98 years old, about to turn 100. Never been there before. Sat down, had an unbelievable breakfast, old school. I mean, people have been working there for 50 years, making waffles and pancakes and eggs. So we had a couple hours to kill before we had to get to this event. So we finished up, then we went to a local bar. My wife had a mimosa, I had a Pilsner, and we sat back there, and I get a call from Dr. Bradshaw that they'd like me to give the final toast of the celebration of life. And she said one of the legends couldn't attend, and if I would fill in for him. And I said, absolutely. So I go, what do you need to do? She said, well, you're going to close the whole thing. You got to get up there and give the toast to Morris. So got there, and it was a pretty magical event. There was at least 20 people in the room who had Super Bowl rings, either 2 or 1 who were in there. From Henry Lawrence, the list goes on and on. As far as I could look, Reggie Kinlaw, I mean, I'm looking, Ira's there. Everybody I know is there. Dave Casper broke out his guitar. Dave Casper, Hall of Fame tight end, breaks out his guitar and plays the song for Morris. Henry Lawrence is a great singer. He ain't heavy. He's my brother. Breaking down in tears. Henry Lawrence, killer, singing in tears. Bruce Allen, a mentor of mine, former GM of the Raiders, was one of the speakers. Unbelievable presentation. Mark Davis is there for all of it. So Mark is there, standing in the middle of the room watching all this. Silver and Black Productions recorded it. So it was big. Yeah, a lot of people in the organization were there. And then I had the pleasure of ending it and just said something from the heart. We all lifted up our glasses for Morris, said rest in peace. It was pretty emotional. And then my wife and I got on the plane because we had to quickly hustle to the airport, make our flight, along with about 30 or 40 other people from the Raider organization, and got home. It was the first time I've been in Oakland in 5 years. I will, out of respect to Oakland, leave my thoughts on Oakland out. I'm not pausing to be dramatic, but wow. I did not recognize Hagenberger. I did not recognize it. And I went up there for 17 years. I commuted to Oakland twice a week on Tuesdays and game day. I stayed in the Oakland Airport Hilton that they're actually tearing down the debris. I'm going to stop right there. I'm just going to stop there and tell you that I was in shock. And then we went into the arena. And the arena's nice. I mean, that Oakland arena, the Oracle is nice. The Legends Lounge was great. Almost brought a tear to my eye. The bartenders who were there were the bartenders from the West Side Club. Still, hugs behind the bar. Haven't seen some people in a while. Great people there. And really had an emotional experience when we left Oakland, my wife and I, and we flew out of there. Gorgeous night to fly. It was the first time I remember that we flew down the coast. My wife is really unique with her ability. You can drop my wife on any corner in the world, and she'll say, that's the northeast corner, that's the southeast corner. I don't know what that means. If you told me to meet you on the southeast corner of Durango and Flamingo, I'd have no idea what that meant, southeast corner. My wife's sitting at the window, and she goes, wow, this is weird. We're flying down the coast of California, not inland to Vegas. And the sun is setting, and we're flying through Los Angeles after the fires. Right. And clear the sun setting was a wild view, then cut on over to Vegas and flew over the Strip and the stratosphere and landed and got home, took off the suit and said, wow, Morris Bradshaw, rest in peace. You see, the games are important. The games are important. They're really important. I'm about to get to Chip Kelly as the coach. That's all important. But when you lose a friend in your life, you should hopefully be able to attend their service if you can. Some people can't for illness or travel or distance. But what happens when you attend the service of someone that you love and care about, and you see their family there, and you get moments with your family, it feels like the whole circle of life is complete. So it was a pretty emotional day. yesterday for a lot of people, but I was really proud to be a part of this organization in whatever role I have, to be able to be called on and asked to do something and be there for a friend who passed away. And a couple of guys said it who got up and spoke. There's no other team that does this. I'm serious. I'm not using this to make it more dramatic. There are other players who die and the owners and the families do something. I'm not saying that. No one does it close to the Raiders. These are players like Jerry Robinson who spoke, who played on other teams. They are saying that Mark Davis, Mrs. Davis, and Mr. Davis, when he was alive, what they do is just flat out different. They care a lot more. So once a Raider, always a Raider means something. And especially to someone like Morris Bradshaw, who played for the team, was drafted by the team, worked for the team as an executive, and was in charge of the booster clubs for a long period of time. So I wanted to make sure that I dedicated the monologue to Morris Bradshaw, who passed away, and for everyone who knew Morris. And we're going to have the Commitment to Excellence Awards dinner in a couple of weeks here. And there's a few tickets left. I'm going to give you the number. You got to buy the remaining tickets. It's for Max Crosby. Max Crosby's getting the Commitment to Excellence Award. I'm emceeing the event. It's the people who have confirmed for this from the Raiders is really big. So we'll give you the information on that coming up. But Mo, rest in peace. I love you, man. And he changed my life in a positive way. And I just wanted to bring that up. So, true story. True story. I'm standing in the middle of this celebration of life. My phone buzzes. I get a text from within the Raiders. We got Chip Kelly. Whoa! Whoa! Chip Kelly? What? Chip Kelly's the offensive coordinator of the Raiders. I open up my phone. I show it to someone to my left, to my right. Guy on my right had the same text that I got, group text. I'm like, whoa, Chip Kelly. Now, there's a connection to Pete and Chip. Obviously, we're both head coaches. They know each other. Chip was a head coach of the Eagles, head coach of UCLA, Oregon. So Chip and Pete go way back. I know nothing about how the deal went together. If the reports are true that he's going to make the amount of money that he's making, which is none of my business, if the reports are true that he's the highest paid coordinator ever, as Stephen A. Smith would say, ever, wow. Okay, now I get it. So here's what I just told Clay Baker, who is one of our hosts on our morning show before I came in here. There's no more talk on the coaches. We're done. I'm almost going to shut it down after today. And I want to hear about Chip Kelly today at 702-365-9200. Right now, dive on a telephone and call me on Chip Kelly. The big shot to do that today, 702-365-9200. Of course, we'll wait for the Raiders to make it official. Just because everyone else is reporting it, the Raiders will make it official here. But we're assuming they all got this right with Chip, and I feel like it's true. It is. I mean, I don't know of any pessimist Raider fan, any angry Raider fan, any triggered Raider fan who would question this coaching staff.
Oh, wait.
And Bobby's like, oh, wait, they're coming. No. They're not. You got Pete Carroll, Chip Kelly, and Patrick Graham. Now you can go Rob Leonard and Pete Sun's coming in on the O-line. He's going to be a run game coordinator. Stop. Everybody stop. Stop complaining. You're done. They got the coaching staff. It's like a dream team. They got a dream team, offense, defense, head coach. So you got everything you want. So calm the bleep down. Coaching is done, closed. The topic is kind of closed for me after this week because we want to celebrate Chip. But now you can criticize the coaches if they don't win. That's for sure. If the coaches don't win, you can criticize the coaches all you want. You did it with AP. You did it with Gruden. You did it with all of them. You can do that. I'm not telling you not to say the coach didn't have a bad game. He should have threw the red flag. He should have challenged. The coach didn't call the timeout. Coach didn't get the play in on time. You can do all that when the season starts. How dare you criticize this coaching staff on paper right now? We like Antonio Pierce. We really like Tom Telesco, Dave Ziegler. Josh McDaniels was good to me. I was good to him. Forget all that. It's in the past. You got an elite coaching staff. Now, here's what makes this such a big topic, is that these coaches would not have taken these jobs unless they knew they could win and get better players. Ooh, I just said it, Bobby. That's the hook to the whole monologue. You think Pete Carroll was going to go to Mark and go, yeah, take your time getting players. We're good. Like, give me a year or two. I'll fix this. Like a culture. I got this all. You think Chip Kelly got the call from the national champs and Mark or whoever was in the committee said, oh, we're going to give you 2 years, Chip. Figure it out. Maybe bring. No. These guys have to win. Okay? They have to win like every other coach, but these coaches are ramped up. So you got a play caller in Chip Kelly who's elite. You might not have liked him as a head coach in Philadelphia. He was better than you think. And he was unbelievable at Ohio State. They won the national championship. Did you see that offense? Did you see some of the play calling there? And then what Chip did at Oregon revolutionized offense with the budget of Phil Knight and what they put on the players' bodies and uniforms in practice and how they hydrated and what they did, the sensory tags on them and how they ran plays. It was second to none. Chip Kelly was a god at Oregon. So with all this said, we got the guy. There's not a play he hasn't called. He understands everything. Chip Kelly's fine. He's not going to get out-schemed. Raider Nation, you got Chip Kelly. Can you believe he's an offensive coordinator? He probably should be a head coach in college at least. He could have easily been a head coach in college. Easily been a head coach in college. I'm sure he doesn't want to do that. That means he's got to recruit. He's got to be in a car driving through Huntsville, Alabama, Shreveport, got to get out to Baton Rouge in Texas and start recruiting kids. You think Chip Kelly wants to do that? No. He wants to sit at that gorgeous headquarters in an office with the Raiders and break down film with Pete Carroll and put together a game plan, and that's what he's going to do. So I think they nailed it with the coaches. I think you would agree with me on that. You would have to agree on that. The coaching has been elevated to a level of experience which is hard to fathom. Patrick Graham should have been gone as a head coach to Jacksonville and Jacksonville's defensive coordinator. I don't know how Patrick Graham interviewed for that job in Jacksonville, and they gave the job to Liam Cohn over Patrick Graham. Okay, that's fine. It came down to two guys Patrick Graham lost. How did you not give Patrick Graham $6 million to be the defensive coordinator of Jacksonville? You had him in the room. You were about to hire him maybe as the head coach, and we get Patrick Graham back, which is really important because he knows the continuity of this defense and the players that are going to be here. So I love that on the coaching staff. But the problem is Chip needs to go get a quarterback. Chip did not take this job exclusively to coach Aiden O'Connell. He did not. If they're told, if they tell him, hey, man, this draft is weird. We can't get the quarterback. We want to get Sam Darnold, but we lost him. He's staying in Minnesota. Hey, Chip, can you coach up Aiden O'Connell or Marcus Mariota if we bring him back as the backup? Can you deal with this? Chip would be like, fine, whatever you give me, I'll coach up and we'll do our best with that. But I'm assuming that Chip Kelly's going to want an elite quarterback, elite, or he's going to want a high one in the draft or someone he worked with in the past, wink, wink. And there's a few players out there that he has. So I want your opinion today on Chip Kelly. Remember, we like to do this on the show. We like to welcome the new members of the Raider family together. We like to welcome them. Chip Kelly's now in our building. He'll be the offensive coordinator, and you get an opportunity to make the first calls in Raider history, in the history of the Raiders, for Chip Kelly. And I'm not saying you got to think it's pretty perfect, but I'd be shocked if most people didn't like this move and say, man, this is a really good move. What a move. And if I didn't expect it, I don't think you expected it. When we were hearing Darrell Bevell, formerly of Seattle, another offensive coordinator, Scott Turner ends up with the Jets. So Norv's son Scott goes to the Jets, which is fine, as I believe their pass game coordinator. Everybody now has a title, run game coordinator. You know what that means? Yeah. What it basically means is we don't have the money or the title of offensive coordinator for you. So we'll put you high up on the hierarchy in the building, but we'll call you run game coordinator or pass game coordinator. And you will have to speak upwardly to the offensive coordinator and head coach. So it's all about the title of these guys. So I really believe, Chip Kelly just won a national championship with a pocket passer, thanks to James on the YouTube chat. See, I'm reading off the YouTube like a teleprompter almost. He's won with mobile quarterbacks outside the pocket. We all know that. He loves the RPO. He loves multiple schemes of tight ends. He loves 3 tight ends. We got Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer. You think Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer are pretty happy to have Chip Kelly as the offensive coordinator, I bet you they're thrilled today. Haven't talked to him, but I bet you're thrilled. And then if you're able to get a guy like Shedeur Sanders, or you're probably able to go out there and get someone like Cam Ward, or if it's Jackson Dart, say Jackson Dart, who's a really hot name out there, really hot name. If you're able to get Jackson Dart, aren't you thrilled that he's going to learn under Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly? Now all of a sudden I'm on the Jackson Dart train. Get on the train. Get on the train. Yeah, you want to throw Jackson Dart at me after the Raiders take the best available at number 6 and then trade into the first round, trade next year's number 1, follow me, next year's number 1, this year's number 2 and 3 to move up into the first round and take the 21st pick and get Jackson Dart. I'm cool with that. You know, I'm a big fan of getting 2 players in the first round. When you have that draft equity, you have that extra draft pick from the Devontae deal or whatever. I love, like, moving up. Remember moving up to get Michael Mayer? Go up, you got to get the first pick in the second round because you can't lose Michael Mayer. I like moving up. But you don't have to move up from 6 to 2 or 6 to 1. If they do, and John Spytek does that, it's going to break the internet. If the Raiders trade up from number 6 to number 2 to get Cam or Shedeur, I'm good with that too. That's a big move. I like big, bold moves. Go ahead and do that. So with all of this, man, there's a lot of excitement here in the Raider offseason. A lot of excitement in the Raider offseason. I'm here for most of it. For most of it. In the offseason, I'm going to spend some time with my family, my mom and dad, and do some things. A little travel with the wife and kids. My son's graduating college. So I got my head down here. I'll be here for other big events, but it's almost time to call a little bit of timeout after last year's 10 losses in a row to the tsunami of positive results we've had in coaching. And then we'll have free agency. We'll have the draft. We'll have all that to cover here. We're going to have a lot to talk about. But I'll tell you this much. I was just in Oakland yesterday with a lot of Raider staff and a lot of Raider alumni. They were all pretty pumped up about Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly. Most of them didn't know about Chip Kelly. Most of them didn't. But everyone who came up to me, Phil Villapiano came in with a white Raider coat on. Man, he looked great. Looked like he was 25 years old. Henry Lawrence, we talked about, what do you think of Pete Carroll, Brick? I'm like, he's a legend. He's a legend. Should get this thing turned around here pretty quick. But you got to go win the games. But what an offseason for the Raiders with coaching. I mean, keep it simple. That's what they told me when I was younger. Keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple. We got Pete Carroll, Patrick Graham, and Chip Kelly. I think Chris in West Oakland would appreciate those coaching hires. How are you, Chris?
I'm doing well, JT. Glad to see you were back here in the Bay Area yesterday. Real quick, before I get to that, let me hit something. Rest in peace, Morris Bradshaw. I'm one of those guys that's old enough when the Raiders drafted him. This guy was Steve Tasker. He was a great special teams player before they became marquee names. He made his bones with the Raiders. Yeah, he was a decent wide receiver, but man, this guy is an outside gunner running under Ray Guy's punch, which was not just as great as Ray Guy was. Morris Bradshaw is why the Raiders were so great on special teams back then. He ran under those punts, and again, he was a great special teams player long before it was fashionable. So rest in peace, Morris Bradshaw. I know what a good friend he was to you, JT. Always sad when these guys leave us. But I'm with you, man, about the coaching. I love the Chip Kelly hire. Here's the reason why. He's proved he can win multiple ways as a coordinator. He's not married to one system. I know I'm not a big fan of running multiple tight ends in the NFL. I don't think Chip Kelly will do that in the NFL, but if necessary, certain sets he can do that. But I think the Raiders have gone out. They've done what they need to do on the coaching side of the ball. I still believe talent on the field is 75% of the equation. John Madden used to say, you compete with scheme, you win with talent. The Raiders should have no problem with scheme next year and the years going forward with this coaching staff. Now it's time to go out and give these cooks, so to speak, these chefs, something to cook with. But I'm going to disagree with one thing, JT. Best player available only works when you have the quarterback. If you think it's Dart or Sanders, I'm not taking a chance that I can get him at 20, especially as hot as he's become. You think that way, next thing you know, Aiden O'Connell's starting at quarterback next year. We cannot fool with the position. I understand your feeling. 2 players are better than one. But if one of those players is not a quarterback, then the Raiders start out the season next year in their own division behind the 8 ball. So I'm on board with everything they've done so far. But if you do think one of these 3 guys is your quarterback, don't think you can wait till 20. That's how they missed out on guys last year. But so far, it's slow, it's steady, it's it's a solid organizational move. Got no problem. Now let's go give these guys some talent to win on the field. I'm tired of talking about coaches. I'll hit the NBA on your national show because I got a lot to say about that. Thank you, my friend. Talk to you later.
Thank you, Chris. He knows I'm on tonight from 7 to 10 Pacific time. 3 hours. Did 4 hours Saturday. Chris checks in on that show too. So yeah, all I wanted to say today, the point I wanted to get in here in the monologue was everybody relax now on the coaching. Give me a break. I had some guy that just said, I thought it came out of nowhere. Some wise ass says to me, he didn't come out of nowhere. You just didn't know about it. Yeah, you're right. 99.9% of people on planet Earth didn't know Chip Kelly was coming to the Raiders, including our insiders who cover the team, who actually, some of them tweeted out, wow. Okay. We got some of the best insiders in the NFL and they had no clue. So I'm not here to break news on coaches. I'm here to tell you about my opinion on the coaches. Normally it's positive because not only do I work for the team, but it's positive because they get hired to fix things. So when they come in, at least you agree with it or like it. And this group of hires is unbelievable. So it's very easy to say, yeah, I'm getting behind it. I'm going to get behind every coach and support every coach who gets the job here. There's some that are better than others. And if you're better than the other ones, you better believe you're going to hear about it. My enthusiasm will rise with those hires along the way. Stevie G in Oakland, where I was yesterday. What's up, Stevie?
What's happening? We are doing well. Chip Kelly's on board. We're ready to rock. We're ready to roll. So here we go. We got a guy who is multiple in how he thinks of offense. It's not going to be just one thought. It's going to be multiple thoughts. He picks from different pieces as he coalesces and brings everything together. And this guy, ask him, if you can, JT, when you interview him, ask him about Rich Gannon. He has a love for Rich Gannon. So it's good that now he's going to now be part of this culture as well. So he's come with his offense, obviously from New Hampshire, obviously building up through even his bad years with the Eagles, well, supposedly whatever was going on. Offensively, they started out 10-6, I think both of his first 2 years there. So the offense was ranked, I think, 4th and 5th both of those years too. So he knows what he's doing clearly. But in addition to that, he's going to bring all of that with the talent that now you got Spytek and you've got Carroll that are going to bring into that mix with the template of what a Chip Kelly offense means and stands for. I can't wait to see what he does with Brock Bowers and with the rest of the offense and what we do to just continue to grow. And the quarterback, again, I trust this brain trust to choose the quarterback. We'll figure it out and we'll move forward. Thanks a lot. You guys.
Thank you. A very reasonable man in the Raider Nation. These coaches know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. They're very good coaches. If a caller or a radio host says, well, I don't like it, or callers, I'm not sure, they don't care. Okay? I care because I'm running a talk show. I want to really know what you think about these coaches. I really do. They don't care. They've had unbelievable careers. They've made millions of dollars. They have loaded up pensions and 401ks. They're rich. They've accomplished everything you can in life as football already. They're here to help us in the Raider Nation. We need their help. We haven't won in a while. Want to start winning again. I think that the Raider Nation, I could be wrong. I'm usually not. I think the Raider Nation will be brought together more than it's ever been brought together this offseason by these coaching hires. And you were brought together by Antonio Pierce. You were holding up signs, hire AP. Nothing wrong with that. AP was great to us. God, every interview I had 18 interviews with him in a season. Every interview with AP was a 9 out of 10. How we wanted to win. We're injured. We're going to go do this for Raider Nation. We're going to kick off to the black hole. The guy wanted to win. It didn't work, unfortunately. Next coaching staff up. This coaching staff has a lot of experience. They could be super aggressive. And last thing before we come back, as I tweeted out yesterday, what I love about Chip Kelly is what I've been blanking and moaning about since you met me. I always want the offense to play faster. Chip plays fast. Yes, we all get that, right? Chip plays fast. You don't have to worry about Chip and the play clock going 5, 4, 3, 2, hut. Snap on one when the defensive players have their ears pinned back because they're looking at the play clock and it's down to 2 seconds and they're about to attack the quarterback. Chip is better than that. Chip can run any style of offense with anybody who we got. But we're still in the quandary of the quarterback. How do you go get him? Well, I think Pete Carroll, Tom Brady, and Chip Kelly will figure it out. Let's put that on a T-shirt. Ready? Let's do it again so someone can print me the T-shirt. When it comes to the quarterback, Tom Brady, Pete Carroll, and Chip Kelly will decide who's going to be the quarterback for the Raiders. And if there's any confusion in Raider Nation, again, Tom Brady, Pete Carroll, Chip Kelly are picking the quarterback. It's a hell of a room to pick a quarterback. They'll figure it out. 702-365-9200. Super Bowl week from Radio Row in New Orleans is brought to you by Tito's. Handmade vodka. It's America's favorite vodka for a reason. Distilled 6 times till it's just right. Tito's is known for great vodka, giving back and doing good for dogs. It's my go-to vodka. Tito's should be your go-to vodka too. Tito'sVodka.com. Big show today. Jump on in. Wow, that was a ripper. 30-minute monologue. 30-minute. Yeah, I didn't bail out after 7 minutes to say I had the sniffles or the cold. If you know, you know. Limon.
Yep, they're all buddy.
Yes.
Okay, with the sponsoring.
Yep.
I know today isn't such a big deal,
Yeah.
but I know Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is going to be a big
Yeah.
deal. So
Yeah.
I just want to clarify that.
And these are all live reads for Harry.
I got a copy of my.
Yep.
Yours has got Raising Cane's on the back side.
Yep. Don't let the game get out of hand. Please bet responsibly.
Allegiant Stadium is the home to world-class events like the Raiders, the Rebels, Pro Soccer, and Superstar Concerts.
Yes.
And your home for the pre- and post-game parties is the Tailgater Tavern. Less than a half mile from the stadium, the Tailgater features...
How we doing? Shador, Dart, then Howard. Raider Foo Chris says Shador, then Dart. How do you put Dart at number 2 over Cam Ward? Let me just tell you about Oakland. The thing about Oakland that disturbed me, I obviously knew about all the sports leaving. When I drove around the Coliseum, we drove around the Coliseum in our Uber to get dropped off. The Coliseum and the area around the Coliseum, the canals, the pollution, the debris, the bleachers outside the Coliseum, sitting out in the cold, the bleachers. It's like the city was abandoned. So when you come out of the airport and you get to Hagenberger and you see that there's no more Walmart and there's no more In-N-Out and that old Italian restaurant, what was it, Francisca's or whatever, gone, just a pile of dirt. And you see that everything's gone. You say to yourself, how could one of the biggest cities in America, that's the Bay Area, Oakland's a big city, 35 miles from where Silicon Valley is, a great airport. The airport was fantastic. It's an international airport. How could you not have hotels next to an international airport for pilots to sleep, stewardesses to sleep? Like, how do you take down the Oakland Airport Hilton? And look, I know about the violence back in the day. There was violence in the 80s and 90s during the crack epidemic and the gun violence in Oakland. I know all that. I'm well versed in that. But to see that the economy in Oakland cannot support airport hotels or restaurants. Now, Alameda was nice. I've never spent a lot of time in Alameda. Very quaint. That main area in Alameda was gorgeous. Movie theater. We had lunch there. Had a beer there. Oli's Waffle House. Great. But, man, right around 66, the 880 looked like Iraq. I mean, it looked like a war zone, man. It was like, I couldn't, the graffiti's one thing. Graffiti, which you don't see in a lot of cities anymore, graffiti. Not that I go to, I travel. I don't see a lot of graffiti in cities, but the amount of debris on the freeways, like how are you not picking up the debris once a week and on a freeway? Like, don't they have people like California? Like, we have NDOT out here, Bobby. Like, don't you have people like who go on the freeways? I'm not saying prisoners and
No, literally
prisoners, but how is like the 880 for like 10 miles not swept and clean?
You've got thousands of
I'm like, this is Oakland, man. Like, clean up your city. And that's what bothered me a little bit, man. The politicians there just nuked that city, man, when it came to sports. Just sucks.
Hand craftsmanship is, in my opinion, the only way you're going to achieve that. We handcraft our boots.
No, but I disagree, James. Oakland, Jack, Oakland isn't trash. Oakland, there's so much history from Bill Russell to the city of Oakland to everything that's happened in Oakland, from the Black Panthers to the history of sports, innovation, music, jazz music in Oakland, right? Jazz music, rock and roll, Day on the Green at the Oakland Coliseum. Led Zeppelin played the Coliseum.
Here we go.
Back to the near side. He's got Barkley to his left. Handoff. Barkley, stutter step, running to the right. Barkley will take it in. Touchdown, Philadelphia. They are lining up the link. And the Eagles running away from the Commanders. Saquon Barkley, third touchdown of the day. And Philadelphia can taste it.
Turn it up. This is what Saquon Barkley should be listening to in his headset. I believe the Eagles will win the Super Bowl because of that guy, Saquon Barkley, you just heard on Westwood One. He's got to have a big game. I look back, I'm studying that for some pre-prep for this week, and Terrell Davis of the Broncos had a similar postseason run through 3 games that Barkley's had. Marshall Faulk with the greatest show on turf had a similar run. When you have an elite running back, Jerome Bettis, remember the Super Bowl, his last game, Pittsburgh. Jerome Bettis wasn't putting up Barkley numbers, but good numbers heading into the Super Bowl, and they fed him heavy to win the Super Bowl. It's rare that you have a running back who's playing this well coming into this game, so they got to feed him and get him going. And I think if they're going to win, I don't like either team. I don't want Kansas City to win. I actually, Bobby, I've never said this. I dislike Philadelphia more than Kansas City, but I'm trying to stop, in my mind, the Kansas City dynasty.
Right.
If Philadelphia was a dynasty, you would hear maybe something different from me. If Philadelphia was going for their 5th Super Bowl or 4th, I might be like, no, I want them to lose. No, I want Kansas City to lose. They've had a hell of a run. I want it to come to an end. I will dive into the Luka Doncic deal coming up. Luka Doncic to the Lakers is a massive story. Massive story. I want to dive into that. But we're going to stay heavy on the Super Bowl and the Raiders here today, our first day back, as we continue on. Super Bowl week. We'll be live all week from Radio Row, brought to you by Resorts World. It's your destination to watch the Super Bowl in Vegas with over 8 venues hosting viewing parties. There's something for everyone at every price point, including Doghouse Saloon, 8 Cigar Lounge, Gatsby's Cocktail Lounge, Carver Steak, Aqua, Allianz 6060, Red Tail, and Zook. All there with our proud partner, Resorts World. Limon in Henderson. Good to hear from you again. What's happening?
Hey, how you doing, brother?
Good.
Listen, man, I'm just happy about what's going on now, man. I woke up and I'm like, Chip, come on, man. Man, it's for real. So this is why we got Chip, we got Pete, and we got Tom. Man, that sounds so good, doesn't it? Last year, I told you I wanted a proven winning coach. You know, it's okay. It happened, whatever. Last year's done. But you know what? The Raiders are back. We are back.
Well, the Raiders, Limon,
What I'm saying, you know, I like to play still in January. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I still like to play in January. You know what I mean? You know, when you say NFL, one of the first things that comes up in anybody's mind is the Raiders. We're back.
Okay.
Like that.
All
You
right.
know what I mean? That's why I'm excited about it. You know what? And about the quarterback, hey, do not worry. We got Tom. You know, we got Chief. Those guys, trust me, they got something on their sleeve that we don't know,
my man, it's going to be good for everybody. So guess what? We're back.
Thanks, my friend. But Lamone wanted to call and say, we're back. Guess who's back? Back again. Limon's back. Tell a friend. All right, the Raiders are back. They're back in regards to coaches. I can't say that about the roster just yet. I mean, the roster's got to be vastly improved. Don't get me going on who should be back and who shouldn't be back on this roster. I got events I got to MC coming up here. I don't want to bump into a guy in the hall room. I don't want to bump into someone backstage. Okay, so I'll have plenty of months ahead to tell you who's not going to be back here. Raider D in Oakland gave me one of the greatest tours of my life of the town. Raider D, how you been?
Oh, man, I've been good, JT, man. You know, went to the Ricky Henderson
how was that?
Ceremony, man. It was really good, man. It was really good to see a lot of the old great vets from a lot of the different Major League Baseball teams. They did a good job, you know, showing Ricky love, man, and acknowledgement. It was a good ceremony. So,
yeah, I thought that was going to be outside, but due to weather, they put it inside. Was it good to have it in the arena, or would you rather have had it in the baseball stadium?
It was good in the arena, but you know it's always better to be outdoors, man, in the air. But the conditions were really, you know, horrible for that. So they did a good job at adjusting and moving it indoors.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, everybody got in. It was good being back in that building. You know, I was hoping they had some all-star events here coming up for the basketball all-star weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, it was good, man. And with the Raiders, man, you know, we just have to trust in the new management, man, that has a wealth of experience and knowledge that they're going to build this roster on the front ends on both sides of the ball to help, you know, with the offense. And we know playing in the AFC West, you're going to have to get after quarterbacks. Every other team has great quarterbacks. Their offenses seem like they're ahead of the game. So I'm hoping that the Raiders go out and they look at all options. Don't leave no rock unturned. Put together a good squad, which Pete Carroll's shown he can do. He has done before, you know, for Brady. And this team will be competitive. Like you said, you know, you need to build a team that's going to compete. And the first place to start, man, is up front on both sides of the balls. You got to be able to run the ball, like you was just saying, with a Saquon Barkley. You see how that helped out Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles. The same thing with the Ravens and getting Henry. So the Raiders need to identify him a back, whether through the draft, whether through free agency. They need to shore up that offensive line for whatever quarterback they bring in to be able to protect them. And then up front, we have to get after the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not taking anything off the table. If you can acquire a Myles Garrett, man, that would be an addition to go along with Crosby, Jenkins, and Butler up front. Hopefully Kuntz come back and he's healthy, you know, and, you know,
Dave, real quick, not to interrupt, but you are, when I think of you, you're one of the godfathers of East Bay Raiders football. You took me under your wing, and, you know, I know you didn't like the initial move to Vegas and we wanted to stay in Oakland, and you've been classy about that. But I love your tone here because you understand football. You're one of, like I said, the godfathers of football up there, and the power of Pete Carroll. And, you know, to see Chip Kelly come in now as a diehard long-term Raider fan, you like the fact that it's going to be led in that direction. If the players come along, you got to get the players.
Hey, that's it, man. That's the whole thing. Keeping Patrick Graham gives continuity to the defense, which I feel like the defense wasn't bad. It just suffered a lot of injuries on the back end and on the front end. So if you can get healthy, if you can acquire some more talent up front, then you can get after these quarterbacks. We were already playing Kansas City really well. Like, we beat them last year. We're a play or two in both games, a score two of being able to, you know, hang with them. So, you know, I'm not like, you have to blow it all off. I'm hearing this 3 years away. No, we see what Washington did in a year when you bring things and you build it from the top down, okay, that you can get the type of turnaround. You got a good coach who's been there, done it before. Now, let them put together a team that can compete up front first, though. We have to stop the run. We have to be able to pressure the quarterbacks in the AFC West.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to hear from you, D, a godfather of the East Bay. I tell the story. I won't say the whole story today, but he took me on my first tour of Oakland, the real tour of Oakland, which included the killing fields and a lot of historic spots along the way. A couple of stops along the way where we got out of the car and I learned about Oakland, hardcore from Raider D. I'll never forget our drive around through there. He's been a good friend, a loyal friend, and a guy I consider a great friend, like Raider Mort and Chris in West Oakland and the Black Hole and the fans that we've worked with over the years here, which we're really excited about. How about this, Bobby? Just heard from the owner of the Black Hole, Mark Jones. He just texted me saying the Black Hole is signing on as a title sponsor for the Commitment to Excellence Awards dinner. We know how important this was not only for the city of Oakland and the Raiders, but also Morris Bradshaw. And that's the reason we signed on as title sponsor, because I heard it in your voice that night. You showed up to our dinner and then announced his passing. So I'm really excited about that. Speaking of family, the Black Hole is family, and they'll be a proud partner. Sounds like the title sponsor of the Commitment to Excellence Award dinner, which is coming up, and that'll be in honor of Max Crosby. And we talked to a couple of people yesterday in Oakland about it. And to have an opportunity to put on an event like this coming up here, it's going to jump on us quick. It's February 22nd. What's today? February 3rd? So a couple of weeks from now, 5 p.m., the Terrace Banquet Hall and Gardens in Henderson. Tickets are only $175. I mean, some of these events are $500, $1,000 to get in. This is only $175. Dress to impress. The number will be 888-607-7868. You can hit me up on X at JT the Brick on Twitter, and I'll get you all the information. Limited tickets are left for obvious reasons, and we'd like you to come no matter where you are. This is a good event to fly into. We used to call it Raider Prom. Used to be Raider Prom. Everyone get dressed up like it's prom. Gorilla dancing in the middle, not with the costume on, but just him. A Violator, everybody there. Jim Otto in the wheelchair. Morris Bradshaw, Tim Brown. All the guys who won this award, starting with Jim Otto when it was called the Gorman Award. And there's a gentleman coming in from the Gorman family that will be there. I'm not going to give away too much there. But Max Crosby's won this award several years in a row, but we didn't have it in Vegas and post-COVID. So it's kicking up again, and the Raiders are behind it, the organization. So I hope you can join us that night. It is going to be a lot of fun. I'll be in New Orleans tomorrow, which I'm looking forward to that, man. Been really looking forward to getting to New Orleans and seeing what the city's like. 75 degrees in New Orleans. That's a plus. What was it last year during the Super Bowl in Vegas? 40s? 50s? We need the weather to heat up in Vegas. Weather's going to be great here this week, too. The Super Bowl should be played in great weather or warm weather if possible, or just Vegas, period.
You want to throw to that Schefter?
Yes.
We're only going to have about 2-3 minutes.
Yep. Myles Garrett ain't coming to the Raiders. That would be a shock. We already got Max Crosby. Let's keep Max. Let's see the development of Christian Wilkins, hopefully Malcolm Kuntz. But the Raiders lost 10 in a row and won 4 games. Believe me, Myles Garrett isn't looking to come to a 4-win team unless that 4-win team wins 12 games next year, and that would be the Raiders. So as much as I believe in the Raiders and Pete Carroll and everybody else, Myles Garrett put out a statement that he wants to play in Super Bowls. So we'll see how this plays out. Chip Kelly. Wow. Chip Kelly. Did anybody think that was a reality, D? Anybody think Chip Kelly was a reality? Come on. I just thought he was going to stay at the Ohio State and get a raise. Yeah. Yeah, this is the Commitment to Excellence Award dinner. Let me clean my phone. So for those who want to go to this event, that would be it. You want to screenshot that?
The big game is this Sunday, and the city of North Las Vegas invites you to the ultimate game day experience. Watch every play on a massive 42-foot HD screen at the AMP at Craig Ranch Regional Park. This is a family-friendly event, and best of all, it's free to attend. Enjoy food, drinks, plus all kinds of lawn games will be set up so the action never stops. VIP packages are available. For information, call 702-633-2418.
All right, we'll do this a little bit longer here. Maybe do another monologue. We got Chris Myers from the NFL on Fox live at 1:30. I will replay that tonight on Mad Dog. I also have Old and Polonies tonight.
You calling me or I got called him?
I'll get you his number to call him. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I have it.
Valentine's Day at every resort. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com. Board every resort and play your services. Celebrate the music of Journey with Voyage.
Was that Journey? Is Journey in concert or was that a Journey promo, Bobby?
That was a Journey promo.
For what?
They're
They're not coming out on tour, huh?
No. That's a cover band.
Things are done the right way because you deserve a team that delivers real support and results. When you have both, your whole world can change. So if you've been hurt in a crash, call Sam and Ash.
All right, so I hit the road tomorrow. My youngest son's at home. Wife, the dog, my in-laws. We got good people around. Excited about that. Who are the Raiders going to get a quarterback? Dare I say Justin Fields? Mina Kimes is talking about who?
Just in time for Valentine's Day, the Diamond Store is celebrating its second anniversary.
Pete Carroll coming back.
Okay.
And
I'll throw to Schefter.
Yeah, I got Schefter too.
The Diamond Store carries one of America's largest inventories of engagement rings, wedding bands, bracelets, necklaces, earrings, and unrivaled custom jewelry. Make this Valentine's Day one you'll never forget with dazzling diamonds from the Diamond Store, where the entire store is 30% off. Official jeweler of the Vegas Golden Knights, the Diamond Store in Boca Park next to Kona Grill.
Modelo is an official cerveza of the Las Vegas Raiders and the JT the Brick Show. Modelo Especial is a rich, full-flavored Pilsner-style lager, delivering a...
Sam Darnold is the one everybody wants on the set of ESPN. Quarterback-friendly offense.
The Brick Show, brought to you by Tito's Handmade Vodka, America's original craft vodka. Visit Tito'sVodka.com.
Man, I think it's a perfect mesh opportunity for us to show you how important it is for this relationship to be at the tip of the spear for our program. His background, his mentality, his devotion to character and football and the game and having respect for what it takes to make this thing strong and right, it has just hit me right in my heart. So I'm thrilled about sharing the years and the experience with the energy and the juice that he brings, and so it's going to work out great.
John Spytek, that's who Pete Carroll's talking about. They got to work together. Now we got Chip Kelly. So who's the quarterback going to be? As Adam Schefter and everybody, Marcus Spears are all on the set for Super Bowl, and I'm watching it. I can read it off the screen. Me and Kimes and all that. We're talking about Sam Darnold now. Not him, but they would love Sam Darnold to come to the Raiders. Why wouldn't Sam Darnold want to play in a quarterback-friendly offense with Brock Bowers led by Chip Kelly? Great point. Here's Adam Schefter on the news on the McAfee Show.
Well, I think he wanted to get back to the NFL, and the Raiders made a lot of inquiries and did a lot of background checks to see this is what they were trying to do. Again, I think everybody would agree on Chip's offensive prowess and brilliance. And so they were trying to see, okay, is there a reason that we should move in that direction? Is there another candidate that's more qualified? They were looking at some other people as well. But ultimately, the recommendations on Chip's offensive mind came back in such a way that they felt like this was the move to make. And look, they're at a disadvantage in that division with those coaches and those quarterbacks in the AFC West. It's loaded. He comes in with energy and enthusiasm and passion and a defensive expertise. So they need somebody to really run that offense. And Chip Kelly certainly is more than capable of doing that. They identified him. And this is where the new money and the limited owners that the Raiders have come into play, because Mark Davis got an infusion of money from the limited owners that included Tom Brady. And they now can go out and spend that money on guys like Chip Kelly. There's no salary cap for coaches. You're capped off on what you can and can't spend on players, but there's no cap on coaches. So if you want to go pay Chip Kelly $6 million a year to bring him in to Las Vegas, you can go do that. And having cash is a big deal. And the Raiders clearly have some cash that they can throw around to coaches and that they're going to be able to use in the form of guaranteed money and signing bonuses to upcoming free agents. So that's going to be something that I think the Raiders lean into as they try to make up ground on the rest of the teams in the AFC West and in that conference.
All right, that's Adam Schefter on the Pat McAfee Show. A little pushback from me on this. The Raiders didn't need an influx of cash to do anything. The Raiders are making a ton of cash. Have you ever been to a Garth Brooks or a Beyonce concert? Have you seen Pink? Have you seen Billy Joel and Elton John? Have you seen what's going on at Allegiant Stadium? Metallica? Have you seen the net worth of the Raiders go through the roof? It's the same garbage that I heard in Oakland. Mark's got no money. Mark's got no money. Mark needs money. No, he doesn't. Mark wanted to bring in Tom Brady and wanted to bring in some other owners, get new eyeballs on this for investment purposes. So you think that if Tom Brady or some of the new owners didn't come in here, Mark Davis couldn't go out and get a coach? I mean, come on. But if you want to believe that, now that there's an influx of new cash with new ownership and you can go pay coaches, money's never, the only time that people discussed money with me was on the Khalil Mack deal. When Gruden came back and we let Khalil Mack go. They needed $90 million cash to get that deal done. Pretty much $60 million cash on a $90 million deal. They didn't have that money at the time in Oakland. I get it. I was just in Oakland. I can understand why they might have not had the excess cash in Oakland to give Khalil Mack the extra money at the time, which was a lot of money at the time. No one was paying that money guaranteed. So don't worry about the Raiders' money. Raiders' money will be fine. The new owners are here for an investment and to be a part of Vegas and the Silver and Black. Super Bowl week will be live from Radio Row starting Wednesday, brought to you by Modelo, an official cerveza of the Raiders and the official beer of fans with a fighting spirit. New mini monologue at the top of the hour, and Chris Myers from the NFL on Fox as we continue. All right, I'll stay here for, I want to, yeah, I'll talk to you when you get back here. See, so that's when Bobby goes and gets a cigarette. So when the phones ring at the top, here he comes. You need your coat? Is it cold out? You need your cigarettes. You don't want to leave your cigarettes. You can't have a cigarette break without a dart. What brand do you got there? What brand?
The shittiest brand known to mankind, Seneca.
Seneca.
$5 a pack.
Seneca. I'll put that in the chat. Bobby smokes Seneca. Seneca. I've never heard of Seneca, but he said it's only $5 a pack.
There's a new way to get to the game, M-Ride. M-Ride is the luxury concierge shuttle service. It's the same bus the players use, so you can ride like a pro. M-Ride will take you round trip from Circa or the Palms to Allegiant Stadium or T-Mobile Arena. No more hassle parking, sitting in traffic, or waiting in long taxi or rideshare lines. M-Ride it, and you'll get in and out quickly. Reserve your ride at mridelv.com. Use promo code BRICK. That's mridelv.com, promo code BRICK.
The big game is this Sunday, and the city of North Las Vegas invites you to the ultimate game day experience. Watch every play on a massive 42-foot HD screen at the AMP at Craig Ranch Regional Park. This is a family-friendly event, and best of all, it's free to attend. Enjoy food, drinks, plus all kinds of lawn games will be set up so the action never stops. VIP packages are available. For information, call 702-633-2418.
Yeah, a lot of people have blown up my phone. Parties in New Orleans. I go to a lot of cool parties. I live in Vegas, so I don't have to run to a party in New Orleans. I've been to some of the greatest parties of all time. I'll go to some good ones, but
You know, a lot of lawyers who advertise here don't even live here. If they say Nevada, they're not from around here. If they think our capital is Las Vegas, they're not from around here.
what else is happening, everybody? Did anybody watch the Grammys last night? How did Beyonce win for Cowboy Carter in country music? In a category that Johnny Cash, Merle Haggard, Dolly Parton won in. Does she deserve that? Or was this a political move within the Grammys voters to help out Queen Bee? I mean, what's going on? If it was a great country album, I wouldn't know. So tell me here. And then Kendrick Lamar wins for the diss track of Drake. Wow.
Work on at the subconscious level the image or snapshot of yourself. If you have a healthy image, you attract healthy habits. We work on under hypnosis, taking the pleasure association out for smokers that they have for smoking, putting back in what they already know.
What else do we have here? Fabian, what about my infamous party in New Orleans was at the famous Door, where one of my friends is staying in that area across the street. I'll stop by there. Kenny, I'm not the party boy, man. I'm 59 years old, and I have more fun than 25-year-olds. So when people say, oh, JT, this, that, I go, I live in Vegas, man. Been having a great time my whole life, man. I've been going to parties since I've been 15. I used to throw keg parties when I was 16 in the woods. Had plenty of good times. There's not many people in their 20s and 30s having more fun than me. I was disappointed in Oakland. I mean, I liked Alameda. I'm just very disappointed. I'm very disappointed with the way Oakland looked. But it wasn't a great day to be in Oakland. It was overcast, drizzly, dark. You know, the clouds were out. It wasn't bright and popping. Hey, Schwab, I'll throw to that before Myers.
Okay.
So I'll go for about 8 minutes.
I'll have it ready.
I'm going to go for about 10 minutes here. We're going to play an interview I have, and then Chris Myers. So I'll give you about another 10 here, and then listen on the app.
Here's JD the Brick.
All right, everybody, we're back here. This is my last hour of the week in Vegas. Harry Ruiz in for me tomorrow, the Latino voice of the Silver and Black. It's a travel day for me. Q is on the ground. I'm sure he's going to have a massive show. Q's doing 2 shows a day like I've done for 20 years. He's doing 2. He's doing ESPN, his new show, and then he's doing his show 6 hours a day. That's a hell of a run he's on. So he's going to have a big show lined up. And I'm sure he's already putting interviews in the can. He's down there. So he's interviewing people that are there. So he'll have a good show. Our block of 5 hours back to back. And if you're listening to Rich Eisen on our flagship station here, Rich has got a big guest list. We probably should get Rich on the show. I saw him at the World Series. But we're going to be kind of busy, not too crazy. Going down there to kind of experience this. My first Super Bowl with my son. We'll be down there also working, and we're going to have a good time. So hope to bump into anybody who's going down there, and we'll have some good in-depth team coverage for all of our partners, our proud partners who will be there, including Raising Cane's, the Craveable Box Combo. Make your Craveable Box Combo dreams come true at Raising Cane's, where every chicken finger is hand-battered and cooked to order just for you. You know I'm a Caniac. We love Cane's. They are proud partners of our show as we head to New Orleans. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, our New Orleans partner, as we come to you live from Radio Row and continue on. Chris Myers will join us at the bottom of the hour. Also, Frank Schwab was a good column out right now on the Super Bowl. He joins us from Yahoo coming up here in about 15 minutes. So I'll get to that as we continue. The show today is about Chip Kelly. So Chip Kelly will be the offensive coordinator for the silver and black. Also, the breaking news, Myles Garrett requested a trade from the Browns. 2 years left on a contract of $20 million, $19.7 million salary cap hit in 2025, the fourth highest on the team. I think Myles Garrett has been great. He's better than Max Crosby at this stage, but Max is hunting him down. Max is right in the conversation. Max got a contract. Max is going to make new money. Could Max want to play for another team? Max is a diehard Raider. I don't see it. Myles Garrett pretty much told everybody he wants to now play for a winner. He wants to play for a winner and a Super Bowl contender. No problem with that. He's given everything you could possibly give to Cleveland. Initially, everybody wants to go to Cleveland. Cleveland hasn't been good since Jim Brown in 1965. Hasn't. Bernie Kosar, yeah. And a couple of close cups of coffee. So you can understand why Myles Garrett would like to leave. He's gone to the playoffs twice, I think, in the last 7 years. It's not like he's been shut out of the playoffs. But the Deshaun Watson scenario really screwed it up for him. That was just a mess overall, and what happened with that guaranteed money. Can you imagine him getting that type of money? Also, Bobby, Roger Goodell is having one of the most important press conferences of the year, one that I've been to probably 15 times. He's having his Super Bowl press conference right now, so we'll have that sound for you. This is his State of the Union. This is his State of the Union that he does every year, so we're not going to carry this live, but I kind of like to carry this live because it's a really important press conference, so we'll see if we can get any sound out of this before the end of the show. So Chip Kelly is coming to the Raiders as the OC. The reports are $6 million. If that is accurate, I don't get involved in anybody's money. None of my business. But if he's the highest paid ever coordinator, that's big. Why would he be that? Well, he was super successful in college at Oregon and Ohio State. He's a head coach at UCLA. That's a big deal. And he was a head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. And he was better than you think with the Eagles. He was. So if he comes in now as the offensive coordinator, that is a big deal as the offensive coordinator. And I think the Raiders have got to be pretty thrilled by that, to have a guy that can work with any type of offense. But the big elephant in the room is, who's he going to get at quarterback? So some of the names emerging, Justin Fields, right, who went to Ohio State. Would Chip Kelly want Justin Fields and develop him into becoming, he's already been an NFL quarterback and had a little bit of success, but not as much as he should have. Can Chip Kelly fix him? I like what Marcus Spears just said on ESPN, that Sam Darnold should look at the Raiders closely. Now, why would he leave a team that was 14-3 that still wants him to go to the Raiders? Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll. If Sam Darnold comes to the Raiders, he played at USC. Pete Carroll was at USC and was a legend. Chip Kelly was at Oregon when Sam Darnold was competing. What happens if Sam Darnold's agent is looking at him now saying, hey, man, Raiders are knocking on the door. They got cash. They got cash and they're spending it. Would you like to go to the Raiders? And Sam Darnold goes, yeah. Well, hold on. Let me make a few phone calls. Now, I'm not a big believer in paying Sam Darnold $50 million, but it's not my money. If they go out there and spend it and you get a guy like that. With Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly, if this team starting off the first game of the year at Allegiant Stadium had Sam Darnold, Aaron Rodgers, or Russell Wilson under center, I think the Raiders would win a lot of games. They would, because John Spytek's going to have a draft and free agency. And if you drop a quarterback in there who's a veteran, not Jimmy Garoppolo, not Gardner Minshew, you drop in one of these other guys, and I gave you the three, that would be Sam Darnold, Aaron Rodgers, or Russell Wilson. You instantly know that those grown-up quarterbacks are going to be fine. Now, you got to upgrade the offensive line, but you can do that in free agency in the draft. You know, the defense, we all know the Raiders have a good defense when healthy. They're going to get better. Patrick Graham's coming back. Pete Carroll's a defensive head coach. I'm not worried about the Raider defense now, but they got to spend some of their money, their big money, on re-signing players like Robert Spillane, Trayvon Merrick if they want, Nate Hobbs if they want, Divine Diablo. I don't know who they're going to sign or keep there. I would assume, I don't know the answer, that the Raiders are going to let a lot of players go. A lot of players who are due to a contract and say, no, we're good. We're going to go in a different direction. Yeah. But there's a handful of guys that are going to get contract extensions because they deserve it. And hopefully they like the move here. So with all this happening, there's a lot going on, but Chip Kelly is our topic for today. So if you want to get into that on Chip Kelly and what that means to the Raiders, today's the day to do it. If the Raiders, and I'm assuming they're going to get me guests from Radio Row, Max Crosby, I'm going to be interviewing Marcus Allen, Tim Brown, Rod Woodson, Fred Biletnikoff, Jim Plunkett. They're all scheduled to join me from Radio Row. If I get all those guys on, I'm going to ask them about Chip Kelly. I'm going to ask them about Pete Carroll. But today's your day if you want to jump in on that at 702-365-9200. Frank Schwab from Yahoo, kind enough to join us, and we appreciate him coming in here, and he'll be down at Radio Row in a day or two. Frank, I want to get into your column on the Super Bowl and Saquon Barkley. I think Saquon needs to get over 150 yards for the Eagles to have a chance to win the Super Bowl. How do you see it?
But the Chiefs' defense is better against the run than it is the pass. I wonder, look, the Eagles are going to come in wanting to run the ball. That's who they are. They have this offensive line, and they say, if you could stop it, hats off to you, right? But the Chiefs might be able to stop it. And I do think a big part of this is, I think for the Eagles to win, I agree. Saquon's got to have a good game. I don't know if, $150, $125, whatever it is. He's got to play well. He's got to be effective. But I do think at some point, Jalen Hurts is going to have to make plays. And this has just been kind of a weird team. Like,